it that God has done for you? And that could be something quite recent. Maybe this morning, maybe yesterday, this past week. It could be any time in your life. Maybe there are many, many, many things that you can think of. But I'd like you to be noodling around in the back of your mind at least one thing that God has done for you that is important, that is a good thing. What has God done for you? Now, we were talking about that interesting little song. Our God is so good, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing our God wouldn't do for you. That wasn't very loud. You're not off the hook yet. This is a participatory sermon. Okay. Our God is so good, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing that God wouldn't do for you. And you can point at each other too. Okay. For you. God does good things for us. God does incredible things for us. But did you catch what was going on in the lesson that was read by Jerry just a little while ago? In that Isaiah lesson, God is waiting to be found. There were a whole lot of words. It's hard to catch everything that was going on there. But the verse starts out saying, God says, I'm here. I'm waiting to be found by people who are rebellious, who are, get this, 21st century language back in the prophet's time. They're involved in their own devices. It's something to go by the streets of Rochester just after work time is over, and everybody's in their phones and their tablets walking down the street waiting for buses, and it's crazy. We are going off in our own directions, to our own plans, our own minds. And God is there waiting to be found by people, by nations. He's saying, here I am, here I am. That's the word of the prophet right there. I'm just waiting for you. And God has so much involved, so much that he wants to do, because our God is so good, so strong and so mighty, and there is nothing that God would not do for you. He is here. Now, there is a letter that I'd like to read to you. It's one that I find is rather dear, and I read it often because it's part of this being aware of where God is in my life. And I'd like you to think about it as if it were Jesus' words. My dear friend, says Jesus, how are you? I just had to send you this letter to tell you how much I love you and care about you. I saw you yesterday as you were walking with your friends, and I waited all day hoping you'd talk to me also. As evening drew near, I gave you a sunset to close your day and a cool breeze to rest you. And I waited, but you never came. I saw you fall asleep last night, and I longed to touch your brow, so I spilled moonlight on your pillow and face. And again I waited, wanting to rush down so we could talk. I have so much to tell you. You awakened late. You rushed off for another day, and my tears were in the rain. You looked so sad, so alone. It makes my heart ache, because I understand. My friends let me down and hurt me many times too, but I still love you. I tried to tell you in the quiet green grass. I whispered in the leaves and the trees, and breathed it in the colors of the flowers. I shouted to you in the mountain streams, and give the birds songs to sing to you. I clothe you with warm sunshine. I perfume the air. My love for you is deeper than the oceans and bigger than the biggest want or need you will ever have. I know how hard it is on earth. I really do, because I was there. Just call me. Just ask me. Just talk to me. I have chosen you, and I will wait for you. We will spend eternity together in heaven, with all my love, Jesus. Too many times we go off to our own devices, our own plans. And God waiting for us to find him. And God is here, and I'd like you to see and think about what amazing things happen when God and a person get together. That's a beautiful story that was told in the Gospel of Luke today. Jesus had been on the side doing ministry of the Sea of Galilee. And he got into a boat with his disciples. He went over to the other side. And this is a place where there was a non-Jewish community. There were pig farmers, hog farmers. They were not kosher, so we know that they were not part of the Jewish community. They were part of the Gentile community, the others. And when Jesus gets off the boat, the first thing that he encounters is a wild man. A man who has been ostracized from the town because they don't know what to do with him. He's been dangerous to himself. He can't live among other people. He has been possessed with demons. He can't even stand clothes. He lives among the tombs. He bursts chains when they try to keep him down. And it's been very difficult. So out in the rural areas by the sea, in the cemetery, this man meets Jesus. A person finding each other. And Jesus commands that the demon come out of the man. Actually, there are a legion of demons, a mob of demons, many, many of them. And Jesus, who is in charge of all things, supernatural and earthly. And the demons say, we don't want to go back to the abyss. Can you do something else? Where can we reside instead of this man, since you called us out? How about those pigs over there? And so Jesus gives them permission. And the pigs, so incredibly terrorized by these demons, run off the cliff and are drowned in the lake. And the demons are back in the abyss where they belong. Now the swineherds who have been watching these hogs go back into the town. They start telling what this man has done and what is different and what's been going on. And when the people come out, they are amazed. Because this man who had been tormented for so much of his life was sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed in his right mind, in his worship best, and he knew Jesus. He was healed. God and a person. Amazing things happen. Now this man said, God, please, Jesus, please, let me come with you. I want to come and have more of you. But do you remember what Jesus said? He said, no, you are to go back to your place. Go out into your own town and proclaim what God has done for you. Our God is so good, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing that God wouldn't do for you. That's right. So what is God doing for you? We've been thinking a little bit about some of those things, I think. You know, sometimes it's very little small things. Sometimes it's enormous, big, life-changing, life-saving things. I'd like to tell you about a little thing that God did for me last week. Last Saturday when I was coming to worship, it was cloudy. It was threatening to rain. When I left Rochester in the middle of the afternoon, it was just beginning to rain a couple of drops. So I got into the car, not a bit wet. I went to pick up my sister at her house, because she comes with me on Saturday nights. And it was just dribbling, it wasn't too hard. And the caregiver there was able to get Nancy in the car through the garage without getting her wet either. Wow. By the time we were out of her neighborhood, it was coming down pretty hard. So now there is rain. And now I look at my gas tank. And I think, oh, Well, I've got enough gas to get to Spring Valley, so hopefully by the end of the worship service, the rain will stop and then I can fill the tank before I go home. Oh yeah, right, well. So I figured, okay, not a big deal. I just don't like to get gas when it's raining. I don't like to get wet when I'm trying to get ready for something else. Not that I can't, not that I won't, not that I haven't. It's just, I don't like to. So as we're driving down from Rochester, we get past the airport, past the I-90 intersection, and lo and behold, there's a break in the clouds. The rain is stopping. I'm going, oh, it isn't so bad after all. And there's this little pocket of sunshine, and there's the Quick Trip. So I get gas, and there is no rain whatsoever. And I get back in the car, we've got a full tank of gas, and before we hit downtown Stewartville, it's pouring again. And doesn't stop raining until after I got home, well after 9 o'clock that night. Now that is what I call something good that God did for me. Did I need it? Was it something that changed my life forever? No. But it's something that was a gift of grace. And you know what both Nancy and I said? Wasn't that nice of God to give us a little bit of break to get the gas with no rain? That's how we need to keep being aware of where God is in our lives, in the little everyday things, and not take it for granted that it's just a coincidence and something nice that happens. It's God that's bringing these things into our lives, and He takes care of little things like that too. Now I asked you to think about what is a good thing that God has done for you. Our God is so good, so strong, and so mighty. There is nothing that God wouldn't do for you. So now you get to talk in a sermon. And I'd like you to turn to someone, preferably someone you didn't come in the same car with, but don't worry about it if you do. And I'd like you to just turn around and share one thing that God has done for you right now.
Turn into an activity.
You can get up and move around.
Teach you a teacher's
Or at least just turn around with each other.
after 8, I can set my alarm, and I just naturally woke up, so I could go over church, which I was kind of up to. I got up at 8:23 this morning.
Oh, right. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yes. And the other two just stopped. How about you?
This was tough for me. But anyway, but it's all about my daughter, which is about me. But anyway, she passed her last subtest for her elementary degree yesterday. So that was pretty exciting. And I praise God for that because I was praying about that a lot.
That's great.
Let's just have this done, please.
Right.
Well, you have to wait 2 months to take it again. It's like, oh, that's all it is, you know. So, yeah, it's a
That's good.
It's
Really good.
I love that you have that to turn you around.
That's a big thing.
And I'm going to ask that you continue these conversations over with the coffee after the service and on your way home and all afternoon. And keep looking for those things that God has done for you. Because it is our joy and our task to proclaim what God has done for me to someone else. That's what we are called to be about. Now, right here in our own congregation, we have also big stories, and stories of life-changing things. Tom Fowler is out fishing with his grandchildren this weekend, and that's a really good thing. But he gave me permission to tell the story of something really big that happened to him in a very short time ago. Tom had been in the emergency department with what turned out to be an aneurysm. Sent home, things seemed to be in good order. He and Sue were back at home, and then all of a sudden, something seemed to go wrong. Tom said, I think we better get back to Rochester. And Sue was alert really quickly. They were already at the car, ready to go someplace else. And they said, let's not wait for anything. Got in the car, and Sue started off down the road really quick. She said, I really didn't go the speed limit either. But God was protecting her and protecting Tom. And they called their daughter, who was in Stewartville, that much closer to Rochester. And she got to the ER first. And everybody at the ER was alerted that Tom was on the way and that things were really not so good. And as they were just on the outskirts of Rochester, Tom went into a really bad place. You could tell that aneurysm had passed through the upper part of the chest. And he was starting to choke. And when he got to the ER, the whole department was ready for him. They had everything ready that they were going to need, and instantaneously, even before he's out of the car, he gets the life-saving care that he needs, and that clot dissolves, and his life is saved, quite literally. And he's home again in a few more days. Now, God is doing things like that for us. He changes our lives. He lets things so that we can safely get where we need to go. He protects us. He gives us beyond. He brings people into our lives at just the right time. He helps us as a community to keep proclaiming what God is doing in our midst. Keep your eyes open. Don't let God be standing there. Here I am, here I am. Do you see me? See God everywhere. And keep going out and proclaiming. Our God is so good, so strong, and so mighty. There is nothing that God will not do
for you.